I wanted to ask you about this business about air defense, and that I felt that when the U.S. put the Patriot missile in, which is our, pride and joy. I mean, it has the name Patriot. How scary is that, right? It's on top of things. It's probably got eagles and it's painted red, white, and blue. Looks great from a PR perspective. Lasted like an hour. They stuck it in and they turned it on, and a Kinzhal missile found it. And I thought, that tells me that if there were a conflict such as they're practicing in Eastern Europe, after the first hour, what would they have? I mean, and if you have no air defense in this day and age, you're in deep and serious trouble. You lose in 24 hours with no air defense, because that wouldn't be a special military operation. There would be no holds barred there. There'd be salvos. If you have no air defense, how do you have even one Air Force base? What happened, or did they already know? But when that Patriot missile battery turned on and it was gone, it seems to me like that was a significant turning point in military relations between Russia and even China and NATO, because it exposed a significant weakness, being that NATO's air defense systems are significantly behind definitely Russia's. I don't even know what China has, but China has S-400, so whatever. Anyway, your thoughts, the Patriot battery disappearing, what's that mean?
Well, first of all, we have to understand what the Patriot is and what the Patriot isn't. The Patriot is one of the greatest propaganda exercises run by the United States. The Patriot system, the system, has its roots in, I think, what was called the Safeguard system. The Safeguard was the anti-ballistic missile defense system that the United States was seeking to build in the late 1960s, early 1970s to protect us from Soviet missiles. And a key aspect of Safeguard was its automation. Mm-hmm. Basically that you could just turn it on and it would automatically discriminate and fire and intercept and take the thinking out of it.
Skynet.
People were there just to basically, push a button, maintain it, keep it running. But we didn't want the brain working, because these were decisions that had to be made quickly. And so when Skynet, went the way of the dinosaur because of, or Safeguard, not Skynet.
Terminator. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be back. When Safeguard went the way of the dinosaur because of the anti-ballistic missile treaty, the technology, though, as we always see with defense contractors, they had spent a lot of money developing this automated system. And so what they said is, we're going to take this and we're going to apply it to the next generation of air defense systems. And this became the Patriot. And the Patriot basically incorporated Skynet computers and Skynet algorithms and things of that nature.
Where you're saying Skynet, but you mean whatever that
is. I mean a Safeguard. Guys, see, you did it to me.
I messed up.
That idea. And my simplistic Marine brain catches on to the last thing it heard. So Safeguard. But we'll stick with Patriot now, because we've transitioned.
Okay.
And to the best of my knowledge, the Terminator movie didn't have a fancy P word for anything like that. So the Patriot is developed, and it's sold as this miracle weapon that is going to guarantee, Western defense of its airspace. And it was tested in 1991 during the Gulf War. The Patriot system saw its first combat deployment, and it was tested in a demanding scenario, which was a anti-ballistic missile scenario, and it failed egregiously. I mean, I'm writing about this now. Even to this day, medals were issued to Patriot battery members on, I think the first night of the war, when they in Dhahran, they fired Patriot missiles because it was an automatic system, and it went fired it, and they went, holy cow! Yeah, we had a missile track, but we shot down the first Scuds, and everybody's going, but there wasn't any Scuds launched, But we shot down, and they gave medals to people for shooting down the first Scud. That tells you what's going on here. It's all a lie. The system had a glitch. It basically, when AWACS went up there and flooded the area with electronic signals. The radar didn't know how to handle the density of the signal, and it interpreted it as an incoming missile track. And because it was on automatic mode, it went fired, and there went a bunch of missiles. Now, in the battle for Riyadh, when the Iraqis started firing Scud missiles against Riyadh, and you had Patriot batteries defending in depth, the village, the city, the airfield. Again, one of the problems is as the actual missiles came in, it's on automatic mode, so it's going, and you're firing a whole bunch of missiles up against this target. And one of the reasons is that the Scud missiles that came in, it broke because it was a Scud missile. The Iraqis elongated it to the Al Hussein so they could put more fuel in it. But as the fuel emptied out, the airframe became unstable because it wasn't designed to be that long, and it started breaking up. The engine compartment would break off. Then the warhead would break off by the guides. And now you have these three pieces coming in, and they're not aerodynamically sound, so they're doing this. And so you got three things doing this and separating, and the radar's going, holy cow, we got 1 million targets. They start shooting off missiles at all because it's not designed to go against something that maneuvers like this. Now, the Iraqis didn't realize it, but they had invented perfect missile system to defeat the air defense because it was coming at higher speeds than it's normally. So if the Patriot takes off, it'll fire because it's tracking the missile. Let me get over here. So the missile's coming in, the Patriot will take off, but because the missile's going faster, the Patriot has to readjust. So it has this S movement. So it fires. Now it has to readjust to the target. So an S movement to readjust. But because the thing's moving so fast, the Patriot fires, and the S movement becomes an inverted U movement, meaning boom, hits the ground and blows up. More damage was done to Riyadh by Patriots impacting Riyadh than by Scuds impacting Riyadh. More damage was done to Tel Aviv by Patriots impacting Tel Aviv because they fire, do that S, hit the ground, boom. Patriot doesn't work. It wasn't able to do this. The Israelis had this system. They had trained people for Bliss. They brought the system in, and the Americans wanted them to go on full auto mode. But the Israelis were looking at what's happening in Riyadh, and they're taking the initial attacks to Israel, and they went, no. So they went to manual mode to try and insert, but the Israelis weren't trained sufficiently on this. And the long story short is, even when the Americans finally went to manual mode, we had to, because we had to stop shooting so many missiles because it got ridiculous. You're shooting 6, 7 missiles to a target. That's unsustainable. So we had to go to manual, so we're only popping off 1 or 2 missiles. But even with manual mode, the system, we didn't hit a single Scud. That's the reality of it. We didn't hit a single Scud. Every Scud that was launched went to where God intended it to go. It's not a very accurate system, but it was basically, it fired, gravity took over, and the laws of physics, and it landed where it landed, and the Patriot had nothing to do with that. A lot of the Patriot kills were what they called an impact kill, because the Patriot would go up and go boom, and then we would pretend to think we knew where the missile was going to hit. We'd say, because it landed outside of Riyadh, our missile deflected it. No, it didn't. It wasn't going to land in Riyadh because it's inaccurate to begin with. It did what it did. The Patriot didn't stop it. And the other thing is it continually had glitches in the radar. It false radar tracks. It is a problematic system at best. It was an absolute disaster as an air defense system during the Gulf War. It didn't work at all. But that's not, we weren't allowed to tell the truth. Wouldn't it be nice if we were actually honest and went, hey guys, that system that we spent a whole bunch of money developing doesn't work. And because we care about the security of the United States, we need to start over. The Patriot is done. Raytheon, I'm sorry, guys, you built a lemon. But instead, George Bush goes to Raytheon, you have saved the West. The Patriot is a Scud killer. It's the best weapon system the world's ever seen. And we want to sell it to everybody. Everybody buy the Patriot. Saudi Arabia, buy the Patriot. Everybody buy the Patriot. And they did. People bought the Patriot. It doesn't work. It simply doesn't work. It's not a good system. It's overly complicated. You know, the S-400 system that you talked about, the Soviet analog. Actually, it's a much better system. I think it uses 30 men to man the battery, 90 for the Patriot. Why do you need 3 times as many people? Because it's an overly complicated system with lots of moving parts, all of which have to work together to make it function properly, and it doesn't function properly. It's not a good system. During the 2003 conflict, it shot down more Allied aircraft than it shot down Iraqi missiles. The Patriot was not able to defend Saudi Arabian oil infrastructure from Houthi missile attack or Houthi drone attack. This is just a statement of fact. And what we saw now is you try to take Ukrainians, train them up on the Patriot. It takes a long time to train a Patriot operator. And when you leave school, the school teaches you the school solution. Now you have to get down to the unit where you have to be constantly trained on manual override, because the Army doesn't use the Patriot full automatic mode because it doesn't work. But we know that. But we trained the Ukrainians on full automatic mode because that's all we had time to do. We didn't have time to teach them how to override and take manual control and do all that. So the Ukrainians come in, plug it in, turn it on, and go, "We're ready." And the Russians went, "No, you're not." And they came in, they flooded the zone, and you see it with the videotape. Full automatic mode, incoming missile from a distance. Pop, pop. Off it goes. Didn't get it. Pop, pop. As the missile comes in closer, pop, 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 pop. And as it comes in closer, pop, 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 pop. Shot the whole wad. 32 rockets. Gone. Didn't hit anything. Boom! Patriot taken out. Welcome to the realities of modern war. Patriot system doesn't work. Neither does the IRIS-T. Neither does anything we brought in. None of it works. It's all overhyped because we haven't been preparing for a real peer level confrontation. We haven't been preparing to be inundated with not only the numbers the Russians will bring to bear, but the quality. And we are stuck. Every one of our weapons and systems is stuck in the past because our defense contractors are criminals. And what I mean by that is they don't want to build the best system for defending America. They want to build the most expensive system for making their profits. Their whole goal is profit oriented. And so they are going to do that which maximizes their ability to make profits. They aren't going to recognize that that factory that they built to build thing X, X is a piece of crap. But in order to change that, you'd have to change out the whole factory. That's a multi-billion-dollar investment. We ain't going to do that because we're about the bottom line. We're not about helping American soldiers or Marines. We don't care about them. We pretend to. We wrap ourselves in the flag, but all we want is the dollars. So we will continue to push bad technology, inferior technology on the Department of Defense, which, because it's all about this relationship with the military-industrial complex, you can't be Lloyd Austin getting a seat at the Raytheon board when you retire if, while you were a 4-star general, you told Raytheon to pound sand, get the hell out of my office, and give me a system that works. That's what he should have done.